Okay, so this week in our book, Aloud Winter's Nap, we're going to be taking a look at the main character, and I'll go ahead and tell you it is Tortoise right here. And we're going to be learning about a word called dialogue. Dialogue simply means when the characters are talking in the book. When characters are talking in a story, you may see these things called quotation marks. Quotation marks. And the way that I like to remember quotation marks is that when I'm talking, I'm in quotation marks in a story. So I'm going to just show you real quick what quotation marks might look like in our story. And it might be a little hard to see, so your teacher may want to pull a book out for you, or you may even, when you're reading in like the reading area or with your baggy books, you may have already seen these before. But right up here are quotation marks. That means that somebody is talking in the story, and that somebody is usually characters. Characters are the people that talk in the story. They can be animals, people, or things. In our story this week, it's obviously animals that are talking. So a lot of times in a story, if I see quotation marks, that means either I'm going to change my voice because it's a different character, or I'm going to read the words to see what the character might be feeling or how they might be describing something. So as you get to be good readers, you're going to notice those quotation marks. That means someone in the story is talking. Another thing that you might see are speech bubbles. This is a type of speech bubble I've seen in stories. You might see a speech bubble like this where it has like a little almost arrow or pointy part that lets you know that someone in the story is talking. A lot of times we might see these in comic books if you've ever seen comic books. So we're going to be looking at those things. And right here, I have a little paper, which is on your seesaw, and it says right here in these quotation marks, would you like to make some ice sculptures with me? And the quotation marks ends, and I had to ask a question because I see a question mark there. And the rabbit says to the tortoise in his speech bubble, why not? So do you think the rabbit likes probably making sculptures if he said, why not? I think so. So you have to see what the characters might be talking about or describing using those quotation marks or speech bubbles. So authors give us information about characters through what they say. So not only do they give information about how they look or how they feel on the inside, but what they're actually saying in the story now. So I'm going to read this book, Aloud Winter's Nap. I'm not going to stop and ask questions during the story today because I want you to be listening to what you think the animals might be saying, especially the tortoise. And what he says makes him feel a certain way. So up here, I have my anchor chart, and I'm going to do this with you on our next seesaw page, and you'll probably do this with your teacher if you're at school. So again, we're looking for what the tortoise says in the story, and by what he says makes him feel a certain way. Tortoise had just snuggled in for his long winter's nap when tweet, 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 tweet. Hello there, Tortoise, chirped Robin. Would you like to join our singing class? No, grumbled Tortoise. I was trying to sleep. Tortoises don't like winter. So the reason I changed my voice is because I saw those quotation marks. Why not? Chirped Robin. They just don't, said Tortoise, and he packed up and left in search of a quieter home. His little sign there says, do not disturb, over here, and do not disturb until spring. Tortoise snuggled down in his new bed, and he was just about to close his eyes when, ta Tortoise, would you like to make some ice sculptures with me? Asked Rabbit. Oh, no, groaned Tortoise. I was trying to sleep. Tortoises don't like winter. Why not? Asked Rabbit. They just don't, said Tortoise, and he packed up again. Tortoise trudged through the snow and found a new napping spot. Again, Tortoise snuggled down into his new bed. He was just about to close his eyes when thud, pat, thud, splat. Hey, Tortoise, would you like to play in our snowball fight? Asked Squirrel. No, Tortoise said angrily. I am trying to sleep. Tortoises do not like winter. Why not? Asked Squirrel. They just don't, groaned Tortoise. Why would anyone want to stay awake for winter? Grumbled Tortoise. He was tired and cold and needed to find a quieter place to sleep. Tortoise decided to move to higher ground. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This is a beaver. And so beavers like to do something. Again, Tortoise snuggled down in his new bed. He was just about to close his eyes when bounce, 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 swish, swish, swish. Oh no! Cried Tortoise. Kerplunk! I do not like winter, Tortoise said. This sign right here said sled construction site. So what do you think Beaver's making right here? Remember, we're going to ask some questions at the end. I'm going to read it all the way through. Tortoise hiked up a big snowy hill. Behind a small tree, Tortoise found a flat piece of wood. It was the perfect place for napping. He snuggled down in his new bed and was about to close his eyes when... whoosh! As Tortoise whizzed along, he couldn't help smiling. Maybe winter isn't so bad, he thought. And as he flew off his sled and through the air, he couldn't help but giggling. Maybe winter is more than cold and snow, he thought. Whee! And as he slid across the ice, he realized he had been wrong. That night, Tortoise skated and slid and spun with his friends late into the night. He wasn't tired or cold. Maybe some tortoises could like winter after all. So I saw a lot of quotation marks in that story, so I knew that I had to change my voice because there were different characters doing the talking in the story. I didn't see any speech bubbles, but I did see a lot of these quotation marks. And as the words in our story got big and had exclamation marks, I knew that my voice had to get bigger. When I see our words in all capital letters, that means our voice usually has to get bigger. And exclamation marks means with excitement. Now, sometimes that excitement could be in an angry voice because you're angry. I knew that the tortoise was getting angry in the story, and sometimes it could be with excitement because they're having fun. So that's why I knew that my voice had to change. So there were some things in the story that the tortoise kept saying that described him. So on our next page, that is what we are going to do.